Welcome to the Autism Notebook professional video series. We're very fortunate today to have Ven Sequenzia with us. Ven is the current affiliate leader for the Autism Society of Florida, and we're so grateful for him coming to spend some time with us today. Ven is a dad of a woman on the autism spectrum. And Ven, I'd just like you to start with a little bit of your background, how long you've been involved with the Autism Society, and what the focus is of the Florida Autism Society.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me. I got started because of my daughter. She was born in 1983, and when we found out that she was on the spectrum, which took a little bit of time back then to figure it out, but once she was, I got involved and started to go to support group meetings. And when I was showing up and I was very vocal, I got asked to be the president. That kind of takes on a life of its own. And I just got into advocacy because of her, and back then there was nothing available. Well,
now
let's
you
say a lot
started an
less.
agency in Miami, right?
Yeah, I started Parent to Parent in Miami, which was a parent support group. I was one of the founding trustees with 8 other parents. But I also was involved in a fledgling autism support group that was not part of the Autism Society at the time, and that was the Autistic Child Advocates. And I was president of that for a number of years. And then we actually formed a Miami-Dade chapter of the Autism Society after that, and that Autistic Advocates organization basically got folded into the Autism Society, which now is Miami-Dade County. And I got very involved and did a lot of advocacy and got involved in superintendent's advisory panel for special education and just really went in crazy advocacy. I really love it. It changed my life. I mean, Amy's a great kid, and again, she's going to be 30 in a couple weeks. But your whole perspective on life kind of changes when you get thrown into the autism world.
Mm-hmm. So. Now, as far as with Amy and being a dad of a girl on the spectrum, I'm sure that when she was first diagnosed, that was a real rarity to have a girl who was diagnosed with autism.
Yeah, it was just like it is today. It's more rare, but back then I think the rate was 1 in 2,000 for males, and I think girls was like 1 in 10,000. That if you do the ratio, it's like 5 to 1 difference. So yeah, it was pretty rare, and we didn't know. I had no idea what autism was. I don't even think maybe I'd heard of it, but had no clue. And it took a while to figure out. And back then, there wasn't a whole lot support-wise in the community. We just started from the beginning and traversed through. And she also had a lot of other complications with epilepsy, and a number of, I think 35 or 40% of the autistic population have seizure disorders of some kind. And she was also nonverbal, and she's nonverbal to this day. However, she's very intelligent, and she basically communicates through assisted typing. She's actually become much more independent than she used to be with it, because it is a little bit of controversy out there about the assisted typing. I'll call it FC, which anybody who's been around a while knows what that is. But she writes beautifully. She does poetry. She actually writes for some blogs. She's been asked to present now several conferences over the last 3 or 4 years. So she's actually more popular than Dad, which is not saying much.
Well, she certainly follows in your footsteps to being a self-advocate.
Yeah, she's big time self-advocate. If she was here, that's one thing she would say. She is the self-advocate of the family. And she
when she does communicate, I mean, if she was here today, what do you think would be something important that she'd want people to hear about?
I think that the biggest issue she's had because of her nonverbal issue, because a lot people that are verbal and can actually have a conversation out loud, people tend to think they're more competent. So her big thing is expect people are competent even if they can't talk, and even if they don't look like they may be competent, you should expect that they're competent, and that's her big thing. And advocacy, and in general, anybody who's being abused physically or mentally because of their disability, she's a big advocate for just making sure that people don't prejudge just because you look at somebody. We know all about that with all different types of discrimination, so there's no difference in that.
So how long have you been the president of the Florida?
I want to say 11 years, I think. I don't know, it's been a long time.
And what do you think is the main focus of that affiliate?
I think our main focus is we try to support the other affiliates in the state, and we also provide advocacy at the state level in Tallahassee for the, with the legislators. We also try to let the local affiliates and the families know around the state when some bill is trying to be passed or anything that's going to affect children or adults on the spectrum with autism and other disabilities, because typically autism tends to get lumped in with other disabilities when it comes to funding issues. So that's kind of our primary focus.
Now, how important do you think legislative advocacy is?
Oh, it's huge. I didn't think it used to be. I've been doing it a long time, and sometimes you've been doing it for 15, 20 years, it gets a little tiresome, but even though you get stressed out and you're like, okay, why am I doing this, and it doesn't work, many times, and I'll use an example, years ago when I was in Miami with the parent-to-parent organization, and there was a push to get rid of the funding for Part C, and the state was really, they were ready to do it. They were going to vote on it. And we basically activated a phone tree and, emailed everybody, and just, they got inundated with phone calls for like 24 hours, and they basically reversed their decision based on the communication from parents and families and people just calling and writing and emailing, and, so that voice, even though you may not think it makes a whole heck of a lot of difference, it makes a huge difference, huge difference.
Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for all your advocacy and your years of dedication. And thank Amy for her input, even though she's not here with us today, because that was fabulous.
Okay.
And just thank you, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.